Commissioners meeting for December 19, 2022. We'll begin with the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We do have a quorum present. We will do business. First thing we have on the agenda is Health Department and discussion on the 2023 appointments.
So this year, we have 3 positions that are due to expire. First one is Dr. Jeff Harmon. He has agreed to do another 4 years. Dr. Richardson has also agreed to do another 4 years. And then Charlie Johnson wants to step down and to find a replacement. Molly Johnson did the same with the veterinarian's office, has agreed to do 4 years. So those are my 3 suggestions. Do you need these forms?
I do not need them right now.
Okay.
Is the board satisfied with the suggested appointments from Mr. Werner?
Yes. I am, yes.
I've reviewed them as well. I think I appreciate what they've been doing, and to do Dr. Johnson, I think will do just fine as well. So the forms that you have there, are those ones that just the members fill out themselves for you?
We fill these out, and then we have to send those updated voucher to the state.
Is it something that the board needs to sign as well?
Yeah, you have it.
That's the one text I got.
And have you verified that the political affiliation of the appointees and the balance of the board is accurate?
So Molly, I talked to her on Friday. She said she's registered as a Republican. So now it was 4 Democrats, 3 Republicans. Now it's 4 Republicans, 3 Democrats.
Okay, so that meets the code, so we should be fine there. At the, I would suggest that we approve the appointment. Is that okay with the board? Okay, I'll move forward with that. I'll move that we approve Dr. Harmon, Dr. Richardson, and Dr. Molly Johnson to serve on the health board for a 4-year term.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Jennifer?
Jennifer.
Jennifer, sorry. You were asking me.
Mr. Warner, what else is going on today?
That's all I got for today, unless you have questions for me.
Tell us about how the flu and all that's going on.
Well, flu is definitely ramped up in our area and also across the state. We're hitting our peak earlier this year than normal. So it's kind of just a guessing game of where it's going to go. Hopefully it'll kind of level out and start going down. But generally we start peaking in December, January, but we're peaking much earlier this year.
We hope we're peaking.
Yeah, we hope, from what I seen on the webinar last week, there's a little bit of a downtrend, but you never know when that starts going back up again. They're saying, the flu shot should be relatively effective this year, so we've kind of been, pushing that to make it available to anybody through our drive-through and so.
So it's still a good idea if someone hasn't gotten a flu shot, they can still get one now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, it's definitely not too late. Flu season generally runs till April, May.
And they need an appointment, call the health department, they just drive up.
Just drive up, you don't need an appointment for flu or COVID. So 8 to 3:30 every day, Monday through Friday, do the drive-through, you can get it, you can come inside if you wanna come inside, if you don't wanna do the drive-through, but most people like to get it, not having to get out of the car.
So there's a staff person sitting out there.
We have 2 people staffing, nurse and a clerk staffing it. We have a alarm, whenever somebody drives up, it alarms us that somebody get out there, we step outside. They fill out the board, just take their ID and insurance information, make a copy of it, give it back to them, get the shot, they're on the way. It's pretty simple.
And regarding the COVID situation, so there was, the people got the standard 2 shots, let's say that they did it early on when it happened, and there was a booster, and now where are they at with that? Is there another booster that people should be getting?
The bivalent booster is available now, so that has the original strain and it also has the Omicron strain in it. So it's, we can't give the other booster anymore. Bivalent is the only thing we can give.
And how long has that been available?
A couple months now.
So if you haven't gotten a shot in a year, you're done with the most current.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
Right. I just didn't know how long people should say, oh, I got one.
Yeah.
Good. So if you got one in the last couple months, you're okay. If it was prior to that,
Yeah, if it's been a month since your past vaccine, you're eligible for the bivalent booster.
is there a charge for that for people?
There's no charge for COVID for anybody. We do bill insurance to collect a administration fee, but doesn't go towards their payment. They don't ever pay for COVID.
So if you have no insurance, come, you get it free. You got like paperwork. If you have insurance, the insurance will be charged. Okay.
If you've received, and you and I talked about this, if you've received the bivalent, even though it's been a couple of months, there's nothing further right now.
There is no second booster, bivalent booster. So if you receive a bivalent booster, you're the most up-to-date current you can get, because we have never received any guidance on a second bivalent booster.
And you mentioned where we were with the flu situation. Has COVID been, somebody said a week ago, hey, we're in red. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't hear those things anymore. Is that where we're at with that?
Yeah, the CDC has a county tracker. You can go to it every week and see what we're in. That's kind of hard to determine for us because we don't do testing anymore as far as sending to the lab. So they're kind of going off of doctor's office, hospitals tests. They're going off sewage treatment plants are taking samples out of the water and pulling data out of there to see how much COVID is coming in there from the population, and they get kind of a guesstimate of if it's high or low. They see those trends. So, and then hospitalization. So there's a couple different things we look at as far as determining that red level. But you know, it's kind of a educated guess right now because we don't have the data where we were testing everybody and sending them to the labs, and so that's their best guess at that time. But we're definitely seeing, the doctor's offices and the hospitals are definitely seeing, the trifecta of the RSV, the COVID, and the flu right now. So the COVID and the flu, there's a vaccine for RSV, there's not. So
And do you still have the at-home test?
we do, yes. So we give those out every day, Monday through Friday.
Is there a number of tests that
You can get 4 per household.
per lifetime?
No. So if you get 4 and you have a sickness in your house, or you have to test and you use all 4 of them, you just come back and say, hey, I have to use my 4 tests because of this reason, we'll give you another 4.
Okay.
And you can only get those through drive-through. We don't allow anybody that needs to be tested to come in our building.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Anything else?
Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Did you guys sign those?
I did.
Check.
Do you want to make a copy of those, or
We'll need them. Well,
do you make a copy of them and then bring it back?
Just, email.
send them in.
Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you.
Thank you. I believe Judge McConnell's here to discuss his cell phone. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How's everybody?
I think we're okay.
Simple request. Obviously, you all know I'm leaving office at the end of the year. I had a cell phone that was provided by the county. I just would like to keep that number. There's a lot of personal calls on there at this point. That's the only number I've ever had. So I never had a cell phone until I became a judge. So everybody knows me by that same number. So I'm just asking that you keep that number.
A concern we had previously with another office was what if somebody calls you, you've addressed this with me personally. If they call and say, I need a warrant, is that what somebody would call, or I want your permission to do something in the field?
Right.
Your step would be, you need to call this number, right? If you really need it.
Most of the calls I get for war are from dispatch, so I assume that dispatch would be giving Judge Gwen's number. And I'll call him directly if I won't get those calls anymore, but if I can, it'll be easy enough to move on that.
Anybody have any comments for the request?
Good. Yeah.
I'll give you my comments then. They look
Okay.
like they're fighting over their turn.
We're connected.
I would say here that in the handbook, it says that county equipment must be returned, so it can be reassigned or deemed surplus, but I don't see anything in the handbook that would not, right, that would not allow for you to keep your phone number
Yeah.
transferred. So I'm fine with allowing the judge to keep his phone number. That's where I would stand. I don't see anything that doesn't allow it.
My take would be that, my only concern is that, consistency in how we address this. And there was a request previously for this by another employee, leaving, and, we denied it. Little different, I think, a little different situation in how that number was used compared to yours, but, never want to be, accused of being inconsistent in what we do. And so, having said that, we can always change our minds, if you will, and say, yeah, we're not consistent with what we did before, but we maybe in hindsight or foresight, view it a little differently today than what we did then. So
Yeah, I'm not on the front line in the sense that I'm gonna get a 911 call. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, any call I get is gonna be, they're gonna call 911, and then 911's gonna call me, and, who the judge is, dispatch. I don't take any direct calls, if you know what I'm saying.
yeah, no, that's what I say, that's a little different situation.
So in the field, if I'm I need to look at something. I would say dispatch, can you get Judge McConnell to do something?
A lot of times they'll call the prosecutor first, but they have to get myself, the prosecutor, and the officer on the line at the same time.
That's
So, and dispatch is how they do that, so that it's all recorded, and everybody's on the line at the same time.
for the record of it,
Yeah.
and dispatch will now transfer it to the same number, one number different, whoever the new guy is.
So the prosecutor doesn't call me, the officer doesn't call me, they all call 911, and then 911 calls me, to patch me up and the other two.
My concerns were the same as ours. I wanted to be consistent. That said, I recognize the difference in your position and the use of your phone, so I don't really see a problem with it.
I'll move that we approve the request of Judge McConnell to allow him to keep the phone number and transfer the billing to his personal name as of January 1st.
I'll second.
Any other discussion on the topic? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Did you vote affirmatively? Okay, so motion carries. Thank you. Appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Thanks. You want to give that number public?
It's already public.
812. Great. We're a little ahead of schedule. We'll just do like we've been doing and try to get all of our miscellaneous items. So we have the December 5th, 2022 meeting minutes here. Are there any changes? I'll move that we approve the December 5th meeting minutes as written.
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We have the claims in the voucher register. Anybody have any questions or concerns there?
No.
I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And then we have payroll. I've reviewed it. I'm satisfied with it as it is? Anybody have any questions or changes?
No.
I'll move that we approve payroll.
Second.
All in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Nowhere on the agenda did we have the appointment list to review. We had some discussion that we would appoint these things.
I have them here.
I don't know this, previously we had mentioned that we may discuss them at the January meeting and do it as Commissioner Brown was stepping off. Commissioner Stefan is coming in, but that being said, all four of us are in attendance. We could probably do some of it now if we'd like. It makes me feel better to have them done and let people know where we stand.
And there's some meetings coming up in January that I think they would appreciate.
Some heads up.
Yeah.
Correct. So that being said, I'm just gonna check my email because I've been in touch with a few people about some positions. So I just want to see if anybody would come in. Let's just start if we could. We'll put a big check mark next to them if we can finish them. If we can't finish them, then we'll deal with them in January. The first one on the list is the 4-H Council Board. I believe Commissioner-elect Stefan expressed interest in being on that board. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I reached out to Janelle as well, and my recommendation to the board would be that we reappoint Janelle Hassenauer. She's the sitting board president, and then we appoint Stefan for the other position. And I did, like I said, I did clear this with Janelle.
And who had the other?
Madison Geisler is the treasurer. She said she'll still be on the board, she just won't be our appointment.
That was my concern. And I assumed that she would still be on the board.
But I didn't want to, that's why I wanted to reach out ahead of time, just in case it caused trouble for them, but it doesn't sound like it does.
Madison is the treasurer.
Right. So let's go with, so we happy with both of those appointments then? Any comment? Stefan?
I'm good.
Any comment with that?
No,
Okay, so
no.
we're in good shape there, so.
Thank you. So we're gonna have 3 appointments then?
No, we're gonna have Janelle Hassenauer and Sri Stefan.
What about Madison Geisler?
Madison Geisler will remain on the board, she just won't be a commissioner appointment. So she has nothing to do with us anymore.
Okay, so take that out.
And how about we just approve everything at the end? Or should we do one? No,
No,
the only bad thing about that is if we skip one,
we're gonna skip.
I think we're gonna skip. So anyway, so 4-H Council, we have that taken care of. 911 Advisory Board, myself, I'm happy to serve again. And Scott Ebler has agreed to serve again. Do we have any problems from anyone up here? Any problems from Stefan? Any problem with that? Okay, so I'd say anybody, we're not opposed to those? Okay, so we'll reappoint those. Alcoholic Beverage Commission, I spoke with Dave Green yesterday. He was excited to serve again if we will have him. Is that okay? Okay, okay up here? Good. Ryan Young said okay. Amanda Ferguson said okay. Anybody have a problem with either of them for the ambulance?
Agreed.
Okay. Area Development Corporation, Du Bois Strong. Elmer Ramos is the current member. He will not serve again. So I was thinking, I don't think anybody has maybe had an interest in that. I can do that if that pleases the board, or if we have other people that are interested, I'm happy to hear that too.
I have no interest in that board.
No interest in that board? No interest in that board? Either of you have a problem with me doing it?
Not a problem.
We know of anyone else that can.
We will try it. It's a 1-year appointment, so if it doesn't work out for me, then we'll find someone else to do it next year. So I will do that one. Community Corrections Advisory Board, We have a number of folks here. This one, I would think I would like to wait until January, and the only reason for that is I wanted to verify with the county council if we actually are the ones that appoint them. But Alex Hole is on there. I want to make sure that Alex wants to do it. I haven't had a chance to get in touch with him. The rest of the people I think are fine on there. But we could change any of those if we want. So if you have anybody on there you'd like to change or anything you have any interest there?
No.
Mr. House, Dr. Brahms, okay, so is that all right that we hold that one till January? I just would hate to appoint somebody that the council ends up saying, well, we would have preferred to have one of our new members do it. Does someone have a highlighter? That'll work, thank you.
Airport authority, did you say, did you do that one?
Nope, that's further down the line, I believe. I think that's on page 2. Yeah, page 1.
No.
So contractual public library, we have commissioner appointment there. The current appointment is Steve Scott. He served on it previously. I emailed with the library director down there, and she would like to keep Mr. Scott if we are so inclined. Anybody have a problem with that? Trust him? No problem. Okay, so we will reappoint Steve Scott. Scott Hope would like to be reappointed. Anyone opposed to that? Okay, anyone opposed to Mr. Schnarr? As far as serving again as attorney. Okay, how about this? We've got the next, so we'll continue with those folks. Next up is the Du Bois County Child Protection Team. Cerise has mentioned that she would like to participate on that, and I don't have a problem with that. Okay, so what I'll do there is I will let Autumn know that that's what we're doing there.
Thank you.
And with that board, because you're dealing with things of a sensitive nature, you'll have to, it's confidential items of, they talk about neglect and abuse and things like that sometimes, so DCS will have you sign some papers ahead of time, so you'll probably have to, if Sandy goes sometime, she's an appointment, maybe you can connect with her or DCS to do that ahead of time.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't think they'll let you in the first meeting if you don't have that signed.
Great. I got a text from Jordan that said something about trying to get a hold of Ed, and I tried calling, I couldn't get a hold of him. Is there,
Next up, we have Emergency Management Advisory Council.
I'd like to review on that. No one else has an interest.
I'm satisfied with Mr. Ugelor, Hostetter, Bonderhide, Kleinelter, Schwinghammer, Scott, Eckert, Thacker. I would suggest that we replace Jennifer Durr with Josh Bowers. Josh Bowers is someone who is active in Civil Air Patrol. He's been contacted, he has an interest in serving. The current person in that position has not been very active the last several years. So I think that would be a good switch if the board is pleased support. Seeing no problems there, we will do that. It'll be the sitting board with the replacement being Josh Powers for the last. Health board, we took care of that one with Mr. Werner here a minute ago. We have the highway clerk, the highway engineer, and the highway supervisor. They all wish to remain employed.
Prefer that, yes.
I favor that. Any problem with those appointments? Seeing none, continue on. Huntingburg Public Library Board, Carolyn Brewer.
I still have to contact her.
Okay, so that one will hold. Commissioner Hostetter will reach out there. Indiana Region 15 Planning Commission, Commissioner Hostetter wants to continue there. I don't have a problem with that. I think we're good there. The Museum Board, Peggy Peg Wagner, I didn't contact her, has anyone? Doesn't all give an issue, or do you have any suggestions for the museum board?
No, I don't.
We have Margaret Wagner, who's Peg Wagner on there, I haven't reached out to her. We're good with her, I guess I can reach out again. That okay with everybody?
Yes.
Okay? No, no, we won't. So at the end of this, I'll say the ones that we aren't approving at this point will be community corrections, we're not approving Huntingburg and not Huntingburg Library, and not approving the museum board just yet. So the Northeast DuBois Fire Protection District, Mary Lou's there, Harbison Township. 4-year term. Anybody know Mary Lou? Or does anyone have any other suggestions for that position? I don't know how to keep that. Commissioner Brahms, can I put that one on you, and maybe you, if you wouldn't mind reaching out to maybe Marvin to get her phone number?
Marvin,
I Gene,
he would have that.
I think he would have it. Would that be one I could put on you, and you could just let me know? You know him, correct?
Yes.
Yes, so,
Mr. Nordhaus' office, I think, assists them from time to time, and they may have a contact number for
Okay,
them also.
so it's Mary Lou
Zaire,
there.
to serve on the Fire Protection District. See, we're gonna squeeze every last bit of work out of you we can before the end of the year.
He didn't bring a pen to that.
That was unnecessary.
Boys Fire.
I apologize. Free business doesn't work.
Ruth Leisler might be.
No apologies necessary, it'll come back.
All right, so that's another one we're gonna. Hang on. Okay, Northeast DuBois School Corporation Board member, we approved that at a previous meeting. The Property Tax Board of Appeals, I believe, Ms. Brump, did you talk to Dwayne Chrisman, who said he was gonna serve again?
I have not talked to him, but I would assume he is, but I have not talked to him.
I confirmed with Brian Smith, but I thought somebody said at a previous meeting they talked to him. How about this, we'll hold off on that one. Commissioner Hostetter, how about we'll want you to find that one out? Can you handle that, Pearson?
Yeah, that is that, or Angie, call him,
Or you call it, groups like that?
Angie, he's,
I was like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Who's thinking his Angie?
Angie Geese.
Okay, solid waste, Ken Seacard said he would do it again, I asked him. Diane Obions at the tourism, does anyone have any relationship with her? I know anything. So that'll be another one we'll hold off on.
Again, I would think you could just call the tourism office and they'll get you an answer.
TRICAP Board of Directors, I currently serve on that board. I think that,
What you got?
I'm gonna pick up that DuBois Strong, so I'm gonna drop off the TRICAP board. I did find a replacement, Emily Meyer is willing to serve. She works at the community corrections. She's one of the, I don't know, top three of our leadership team up there, and she was interested in doing it. Unless someone else has an alternative candidate. We okay with Emily?
I think so.
Okay, so we'll go with Emily then. All right, so just as a recap,
We're here, so we,
did I miss
it's
that?
not on our list right now, but it's.
Toka Regional Water.
Oh, yes, okay. So, Huntingburg, yeah, we'll have to do Huntingburg and Patoka. Okay, for the Huntingburg Airport, been in touch with Travis and with Ken Schnauz, and Ken Schnauz has agreed to serve on the board. We are okay with that. Ken and Travis have spoken. Ken was on the list of people that were potential candidates that the airport board president had suggested. So I went to Ken and asked if he'd consider it. He did. He's willing. He is coming off of the school board, so he said he'll have some time and he likes to stay involved. So I'm fine with that if the rest of the board is.
Who were the other candidates? Is that the only one?
Well, Ben suggested Doug,
Okay.
and then Jim Hunsaker said, here's 5 people that might be okay to do it. And Ken was one of them. So there was no one that actually reached out to us interested, and no one who, and 2 of the people on the list were
You're fine.
Charmaine and Becky.
All right.
So they're coming on, I don't know that they would be, they may or may not be, but I don't think they're.
Yeah, you and I discussed, we've looked at it. Yes, no, I think Ken's a good choice.
I mean, if he expressed interest, or no one else reached out.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and approve Ken Schnauz for that position. And then Patoka Water, Stefano had an interest in that, so I would be okay with that appointment. Pleases the board. Good?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So to recap, or did we miss anything else? Anybody know that we missed anything?
I don't even know, I think it's on the
So let's recap these. I am waiting to hear from the council for community corrections. Commissioner Hofstadter is going to contact for the Huntingburg Public Library. I'm going to contact for Museum Board. Mr. Brahms will contact for the Fire Protection District. Commissioner Hofstadter, you're going to call for Property Tax Board of Appeals. And tourism, I will contact them for tourism. So otherwise, we've made our intentions known, and I will move that we approve the positions as we discussed here today.
Second.
Any other discussion from anyone? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. So we're making progress. We have a bunch of papers to sign, and we will do that right after we allow the highway department to come up and do their presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, last week, we conducted, interviews for the opening of our sanitation driver position. The interview went well. Right now, we're pending results of the upcoming screening process. The person we talked to is, interested, and, the pre-employment screening is gonna be taking place later on this week, so, just pending that outcome, I'm gonna keep the name, sorry, for right now, but, the person's definitely interested, and, he will be able to start pending a successful screen Monday, January 9th. So,
Were you part of that process?
Yes.
And are you satisfied with this?
Very much so.
Okay. Great, okay. I'll move to hire the person pending successful administrative process clearance.
Second.
I'll put the,
All in favor of the motion? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
thank you. Yeah, we will have, one more replacement. We'll have a, road mower, person from District 3 retiring. I think it's in April, isn't it? March or April, something like that. So we'll be looking to interview again, maybe in January or February, so we can get that started filled. So, retiring. Okay. Next item up, to prevent damages caused by excess weight on county roads during periods of freeze-thaw conditions. I have an ordinance with me that provides for a 10-ton gross weight limit on all roads in Du Bois County except for Third Avenue from the Jasper city limits to State Road 162, effective during the period of Sunday, January 15th, 2023. Sunday, January 15th through Saturday, April 15th of 2023. That over and thank you for your approval on that. That we need ordinance numbers for us.
We need an ordinance number now.
This
See one now? I need an ordinance number. I did, but you know what, we can redo it, because we're gonna prove that in here. On the 17th, and then it's free fall. Then I'll change the other one. Whatever, yeah. All right, thanks, bye. It's number 17.
17.
2003, or 2022.
I'm not gonna put anything. I'm gonna say that, well, I'll let you pull it in.
It's 2022 there.
I'll move we approve the freeze thaw ordinance as presented. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. And one last reminder again about the holiday hours for sanitation sites. Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are both on Saturday. So those Saturdays, the sites will be open from 8 o'clock in the morning until noon on those days. So that's December 24th and December 31st.
I think those are fine by me. Thank you for letting us know.
Okay. And I have let you know about the out-of-department Christmas party and all that.
Remind me of the date again?
Thursday, the 22nd.
Starting at 11? What, the 12? What's that?
We're eating at lunch, noon.
I'm sorry,
Noon.
noon, yeah.
Thank you.
We have our Burmeister set up ready to go.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody have anything else for Mr. Berg? Thank you.
Good holiday.
Thank you, Steve.
Mr. Wethold. Thank you.
Of course, I have 1 minute code minute.
All right, short and sweet, end of the year, right? Safe streets for all, I did look into that this morning to make sure they're not going to award until early 2023. I thought that was gonna be December 22, but it's federal government, I don't know what's going on there, so. I just leave it on the list, I was gonna take it off, but then it's still there, so. Okay, so we were awarded for community crossings the 2022-2, the second round, 371.29. That's for Portersville Road and the town of Portersville. So I'm going to bid that project on February 6th, try to get in line for paving, hopefully get some good prices. Then we'll schedule to pave that actually April 15th through July 15th. They'll have that time frame to get that thing done. For the 23, that's gonna happen in January. That's when we apply in January. So we're gonna do 1100 South and Kellerville Road with that. We complete one end to the other, 1100, which will be from Ferdinand Town Limits to US 231. And then Kellerville Road will be from Jasper City Limits out just north of 300 North. So that's what and that's gonna be roughly 1.2. It won't get our 1.3 million, get our max, our 1 million, but it'll be really close. So mix those both up, and then we'll bid those later on this fall.
Can you say on Kellerville, you start just north of the bridge?
On what? On Kellerville?
And there will be no bridge there.
The Jasper City Limits, and that bridge is right at the city limits.
So the $1 million, that's for the calendar year. So in other words, this 2022-2 was our second.
Yeah. That went to our.
Second award there.
Yeah.
And between the two of them, we're north of 9 years.
Yeah, we're north, we're almost to the million, yes.
Almost $2 million. So, and then, so this will be applying for in January. Will you apply for the full $1 million right away?
I'm gonna try to, yeah, with 1100 being so big, it was roughly I think it was $970,000 worth of work on 1100. And Kellerville was almost 300,000, so I lump them together, get them out the door. We're just short $1 million, we'll just call it a year and be done. Yeah. If not, then I can roll into the second round of 23 and we'll apply for them then.
Yeah.
So, the last thing is Bridge 14 on Division Road. So they should have poured that wall on Friday. I don't know what happened. The water was up. I didn't get a chance to get out there on Friday and hope they're going to pour it this week if the water can get down before it truly freezes. But then also the fact that the water went up, the east wall is going to be delayed a little bit, digging it out, driving piling, and setting that wall. It's something we knew was going to happen. We were hoping we'd get in fast enough, but it didn't happen. So it's a little bit of a setback, but given the contractor couldn't handle it, the lake's got to get down, so the water's got to come up. They're going to do the best they can. I talked to them. They're hopefully going to be able to tear out, maybe drive piling, and then dig down later if the water comes down where they can dig down and get started. Kind of a play by ear. So they are working. It's just the water came in later.
They're not letting a lot of water out of the lake.
No, they're not. And that's the one good part is that
Yeah.
no, we don't get too much rain and the weather stays decent.
The river's up because of the water, the rain we hear there.
Right. When they opened up the lake, it came up 2 feet, but they were still able to work. And then we got that rain, got 2 inches of rain or whatever it was, and it came up another 2 feet. So it came up, but I think if we get that water to move through, the lake releasing is not going to be a big thing. They can work around it.
The lake's pretty low.
Yeah, exactly.
Certainly winter pool.
Correct. I don't think it's the end of the world, but it is. It is a little bit of a setback. So that's all I got. You guys got anything for me?
Nothing.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I don't believe that this maintenance agreement is on the agenda, is it? Oh, yeah, or, no, it's not. Okay, so, but, you think there's any problem with us going ahead and dealing with it? Okay, so we have a maintenance agreement from the company's name is CSI, Computer Systems Incorporated.
Jackie just said you guys usually review it, she signs it.
So I've reviewed it, Mr. Schneider has reviewed it, we signed the same thing last year, it was just $200 cheaper last year. So I'm fine with moving forward with it or giving her the consent to sign this on behalf of the county. Does anyone want to review it before we approve it? Mr. Brown? Okay, I'll move that we give consent to the DuBois County Recorder to sign the maintenance agreement with CSI in the amount of $9,583. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. So I'll give you this back. I think this is an original. This is CSI as well for disaster recovery services. What's that one? What's about that?
Maintenance agreement. They're two separate.
What do you think of maintenance?
Is one of our software support?
866 for the year.
I reviewed two guys.
Okay. Sure. So thank you for bringing that up. So here's, there's a secondary document. I thought they were connected, but they're not. The second one is for $886.60 per year for a base cloud backup. 75 gigabytes. What I think both of these are really related to is that a lot of our recorded documents now are scanned. They're available online, they're searchable, and this is, we have backup here, but if for some reason something catastrophic would happen, these things are backed up off-site protected. So I think that's kind of what both of these are helping to do. So this is a disaster recovery service agreement. I'll move that we approve, allowing the recorder to sign this one as well. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you, Mr. Stern. Now we're good with that. Okay, the next one that we have is a comprehensive service and support agreement, the telecom, telecare with our MyTel phone system from Matrix. This is something that we started doing a year ago or a couple of years ago, once we had that major investment with all the new phone system. So the request is to continue with this comprehensive service and support. The amount is $16,233. And Morton, can you tell us, do we need any more information on this, or do you guys understand what it is? So you could say what the benefits of doing it are.
Right now, anything to do with our phone system is under that agreement. If a handle goes bad, if a cord goes bad, if a phone has to be reprogrammed, if a phone has to, if anybody moves phones around, changing names on phones. If the phones go down at night, I was in here with them one night on the phone, trying to get the phones back up out of the jail on Monday evening. It's all covered under that, right?
Further alternative would
So
be,
this is gonna be your recommending we.
We've been under that agreement, and I would think we need to stay on.
otherwise we pay per event, and gambling with how much that would cost.
I think the after hours care of only.
So I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the agreement with Matrix Integration for comprehensive telecom, telecare, for our MyTel phone system.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I apologize for the theme. I'm trying to get one of my appointments done at the same time. Next, we have Baker Tilly. We've got that on the agenda at 9:45. We have salary contract with the sheriff. That's on at 9:45. We need to sign these bills. Are these in order to be signed?
Well, I think they are. I'm waiting on her to bring me the change ones that I just did.
Okay, so we'll spend the next 5 minutes signing documents here for the appointments.
See you, man.
Probably.
Sandy, it looks like there is a second copy of the alcohol board, one that's blank. We only have one appointment. Is that just in case they just know someone else?
Sure. It is.
So get excited
Oh,
Everybody should enjoy that, at least once.
Experience at least one time. Thank you. Special copy for you, so you can trash it.
Mind doing that, grab that second one, there's a blank one with that posted on it, we can get rid of that.
Of course, we'll need to
This one doesn't need a second signature, this one needs that for the libraries.
I have to. I do. Okay. What is it?
It's really cold.
Like right now. God, way up there. It's just cold to begin with. Yeah, just tell me when. Where?
Yeah, a couple of them there.
Oh, I missed that, sorry.
Trying to find out where it is.
You what? I missed 2 days of work last week.
I'm assuming I'll probably email.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
See you later.
That's name.
We should probably add it there, because you'll have him in by 2 weeks, right? So they're not officially approved for 2 weeks anyway, that way you'll have it in there.
We want the name.
Yes, if you write it on a note and give it to Sandy, I appreciate that.
Okay.
There we go. Next topic is certificate of appointment to Reading 15. That's a one signature. I think that's all of them, guys. Rylan, we're just about ready for you. You want to start getting yourself pumped up? All right, for the board's benefit here, Diane Johns has agreed to serve again for another term on the tourism committee. So I'll move that we appoint Diane for another 2-year term. First and a second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
So Paul appealed, you're waiting on.
No, Brian Smith agreed to do it. We're waiting on, Nick is gonna contact,
We're just waiting on doing.
yes. What's this? I didn't know that. I would have had 2 appointments there.
I don't know, you guys said she was going to do it, so I have it on here.
That's child protection team. This one says
No,
property
it's on
tax board of
It's
appeals.
on here too. Sherry's the one to do this.
Grace, do you want to do the property tax board of appeals? You're welcome to, but
We normally,
No.
never had a commission on that.
no.
Okay.
Just you have to get,
So who's that, who was that?
Dwayne.
Dwayne, is not interested.
No, we don't know. Nick has to reach out to him, but I found a form here that says, 3 steps up.
I had written down on my notes that she may be interested, so they made a form for it.
Okay.
So just forget that.
I would suspect Dwayne's going to want to repeat. He's been,
Call Angie and ask.
he followed his dad and.
I don't want to call him,
I didn't call him.
Figure out how to get over to Zara.
I looked it up, I was fantastic.
Yeah, I had a hand to do it.
So,
This is great. We're getting down here.
It'll knock that, you know, take that back to Sunday.
Call Angie. She's ready to go here in a little while.
These are all the executed copies.
And then right here. And you said wait on all corrections?
Yes, please. All right, let's keep back on the agenda here. The health pathways update, Rylan Boswell. Good morning.
I brought a list of all of the proposed projects we have done this far. We have one pathway committee left to wrap up, so I'm gonna execute everything. So really quick, what you'll be looking at is 3 of the 4 pathways. We got together and the committee formed a list of 20 to 25 projects based on community engagement Then we also did different activities within that session to brainstorm. And then ultimately, those were narrowed down to anywhere from 4 to 7 prioritized projects that the committee decided to prioritize. And those prioritized projects are the highlighted bullets on each of those pathways. To give a kind of brief background for community wellness and quality of place, the first meeting that took place was in person. We had over 15 attendees at each, and it was a lot of just roundtable discussion. That's where we came up with the 20 to 25 projects. An email was sent out to the committee members to survey, to have them prioritize the projects based on community need and complexity. And then the second section, we then reviewed results and made sure that the survey results still reflected to what the group thought, and there was quite a bit of discussion behind that. So quality of place was with Ball State, and community wellness was with IU. The last one here is strengthening local economies. So this one, it was a little different than the first two. The first meeting was a virtual 2-hour meeting, kind of just telling about their process and going over their tiered steps we moved through. Then the last session was 2 weeks ago in person. It was a longer meeting that we then took and prioritized 20 to 25 projects by going around the room, doing different projects and activities, and then we did monopoly type activities and then narrow down and prioritize it down to 4 or 5 projects. Beacon activity is going to be in January, so that second half of the year has yet to be taken place, but once I do get those, I will update you all too.
Have we had any updates on that map that we discussed? So we'll just update the board. We wanted to have a place to find where the holes are in the county, you know, who isn't getting served after the federal money, the state money, the local money, the existing providers. We would love to have a map that said, here's the way of the holes, and we can find a way to fill those. Ryland and the city, they put together some information for people who would give it to us, they put a map together. And where we at?
It's still a work in progress. We did just get one other map at the end of last week for the thought, and I know Purdue's out this week for Christmas, so there is one extra that needs to be updated.
Did Orange County did they review it or they haven't responded
They
yet?
have not.
Okay, that's great, thank you.
Because my concern was with the map, it didn't look like very much of the county was filled, but what we have been told from PSC and Orange County that pretty much everything would be filled, so I just don't think the map. And some of that's proprietary information, they don't want people to necessarily know, so we were trying to do it in a way that was just that it was served, we weren't gonna say who served it or try to respect that. So it's a work in progress, but it would be nice if we could have that thing. If nothing else, out of that whole pathway, we could find out where there's gonna be holes, that would be great, so we could get those covered. It'd be great at the end of next year to say, we're 98% covered.
That pathway also had like cybersecurity, broadband activity, and the hotspots and things too. That was talked about. Any questions?
Did you discuss strengthening local economies, or did you just do the first two?
I was just, that one was a virtual meeting,
Okay.
and then the last one was where we did all the projects.
You got it.
And that was with IU Tech.
So just off a quick look, childcare is all 3,
Yes.
and
The countywide trail, I believe, is on quality of place and community wellness. Programs for youth and youth engagement areas is on you as well.
so at this point, we have an idea, we don't have any actionable items.
Yes. So once we do the second connectivity meeting, I will compile that list just like this, and then you will have a prioritization for the state and the university one meeting to talk about actual project ideas.
With the core group. So as far as we know, we can say, we take this data and say, these are what we recognize, let's move forward with them. Or the core group could say, we disagree and let's do something different, but this should be informing the decision process.
Yeah, because this was based on the community engagement we did in October, and then this is what this is from.
So if, it looks like Sri stepped out, but if the two of you have things that are priorities to you, feel free to put a circle on them and hand them to me on the core committee, and I will make that known. But
Just looking through it quickly, I think your highlights on here would be mostly would be my highlights. And one of the things that kind of struck me as I'm reading through it, you mentioned childcare, for example, and there probably are others, that there are going to be partnerships throughout the county of other organizations. For example, Du Bois Strong is working very heavily, there's a subcommittee working on childcare. And I think the Hoosier Enduring, no, it's not Hoosier, this is Hoosier Enduring, Hoosier Sustaining, I think, there's an organization, Hoosier
sustaining Hoosier.
Sustaining Hoosier Communities, they have a item on their list as well, dealing with childcare. And that's only one example. There's probably others that you're going to cross many paths with other organizations throughout the community. Yeah, well, I think it's good.
It's gonna be tough decisions to make because everything on here we'd love to have.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that'll play out with when we're at the core meeting, core group, the core group say they identify 3 out of all of these, that they say this is what we can, with the funding for, it's doable, we're behind it. Then I guess it would have to come to the county and the city to the final blessing, I would assume.
There is a post prioritization meeting with the elected official involved with the counties.
That board just won't have any authority to spend any money. So I'm sure there'll be some discussions where differing opinions will be voiced, and we'll find things to move forward. Because my priority is still getting the sewer system in Hayesville, and that hasn't risen to the top in here. It's not pretty, it's not beautiful.
No, and everything.
We try to bring it up.
Yeah, we did.
We try to bring it up at every committee.
It was from
On my survey, I put it at number 1.
Establishing a Latino Resource Cultural Center is important. All of these are important.
The thing that, I don't remember, one of the surveys said, which one is, what are they, affordable, practicable, and so not just what's a great vision, what can you actually get done? And so that's where I would look at some of these too and say, great, we want better childcare. What does that mean? The Du Bois Strong Committee, I don't know at this point, doesn't have an answer. I've met with other local officials, they don't have an answer. And part of the answer that I'm hearing is that shouldn't be government's business. You know, let the market take care of it. You know, in the past, OFS has done it, Kimball has done it, because they thought that it would make sense for them financially. It didn't, so they stopped doing it. It's just very expensive under the constraints of the number of teachers you have to have per student, and the amount that people can afford to do it. I don't know, short of us subsidizing it.
I was gonna say, there's a difference between supporting it and trying to bring people together and getting something moving and subsidizing. You know, maybe subsidizing is not where we need to be, but maybe we can be a vehicle for making it happen in some way. You know, for example, the housing study and so forth that Du Bois Strong was involved in, you know, other than the study itself, there's not a financial incentive there. But it's certainly a vehicle for getting something actionable.
I think one thing too that we talked about this one time throughout the process is finding project think it's sustainable. You know, I just wanna do something and then a year later. it doesn't-
Right, like giving everybody $100 to take off their utility bill 1 month, that's great. That doesn't really build Du Bois County, make it a stronger community, forever. This happens. I don't think I have anything else on this. Does you have other things to report on?
No, this is all I have, and if anything comes up or you have questions about any of this, feel free to stop by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So did you want to say okay?
Yes.
Okay,
That's
so,
Angie.
Awesome, thank you.
Angie
Good
called
job,
and
Nick.
said okay.
I will take credit.
So as soon as she brings in a few more of these forms.
They are.
I'll move that
There
we
you go.
approve Dwayne Pearson for the Property Tax Board of Appeals appointment.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We're down to 4. It's 9:45, we have a few more here from earlier with paperwork. Yes.
I think just an over myself, just thinking about this.
Do I hand it down to Elmer?
So the only ones really we have left then on there, is there, Cranmer, Derek Brewer,
And community corrections.
Community Corrections.
Yes. Okay, next up, we have the county sheriff's salary contract to discuss. I believe we are aware of the status there. There are various ways that you can pay your county sheriff. We made an agreement with the county sheriff. A year or two ago, we began doing this, and it's kind of the first year that he was in office, we didn't have it, and then we discussed some of the Indiana codes as it relates to this. We've come to an agreement with the sheriff, and I believe this meets what we've discussed previously. Mr. Schneider, do you have any comments on this?
No, nothing new. I drafted it, we made some amendments to reflect the new years, and I believe that it's in proper form.
If anyone, want to see it again, it only needs one signature.
We got reviewed and it's, I mean,
Yeah, go ahead and change it.
the changes are
Minimum.
minimal, yeah. The years.
And I think I'm overstating that.
I think it's dates
It
and.
says 23 and it says 22.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
Okay, I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
The council has already approved it, so.
Okay, go ahead. 40 weeks. 40 weeks?
You're gonna
Yes, sir.
start with this. Well, I'll start with Mr. Shane.
Sure. Okay, so at this point, we have the child support office, Title 4D. We have a lease with Mr. Shaney Felt that expires in this year.
Correct.
Then we have a new agreement to rent from him month to month until we no longer need the facility, I guess, or until one party decides to back out. I reviewed that. I think that the agreement seemed reasonable.
So prior to entering into any type of a month-to-month or new lease with Mr. Shaneyfeld, he is still the 4D prosecutor until the end of the year. So any law would require a conflict of interest disclosure statement. We did this last year as well. He has filled that out. He has gotten his appointee, Mr. Anthony Quinn, approved that. So the board needs to give consideration and accept that at a public meeting prior to doing anything with regards to this. I don't know if there's a spot for you to sign, actually. I think
Is
it's
that probation of public servant?
that is Mr. Shaneyfeld.
Okay, then I shouldn't sign it.
I believe that he would be signing that, stating that it was presented at a public meeting. Could be wrong.
No, I believe that it can be read that way. That sounds right. He affirms that he completed the statements and they're true, and that he is the above named public servant. So if you want to look at that one in the room, there.
So the purpose of this board is simply to state that we did receive it, and that you accept it as it's presented,
But we do need him to sign it.
and then he'll sign it. He has to sign it when it's done,
Correct.
after you've accepted it.
And we did this last year, correct?
We did, yes.
And so under number 6, it talks about what the description is, just a lease between January 1st, 2023 and month to month thereafter. I'll move that we recognize acceptance of the uniform conflict of interest disclosure statement from Mr. Shaneyfeld.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Sorry about that. That's okay. Here's the other one.
Get all this stuff.
So maybe we white out my
So
name,
we'll-
make another copy. Or just let it go. Yeah.
So he will come in and then he will upload it, or do I upload it again?
Okay, next up, we have the lease agreement itself.
There are 2 copies that are to be signed. So this
So
is.
the only motion you made was on this.
Yes.
Correct. So that's a requirement before you were to take any action on the lease that's being presented. Again, this is just going from what was once a 12-month lease to a month-to-month lease. The adjustments, I had sent those out to you, as well as what Mr. Shaneyfeld changed. I don't think there's anything too contrary to the county's interests. The increase to $950, which was already budgeted by the council, also gives him the right to utilize some of the space upstairs for his closeout, and also the right to market it, the property, as he sees fit. So
It looks in order to me. Anybody have a problem? All in favor of I'll move that we approve it. And I'll need a second.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Another contract item from Baker Tilly. I read it, looked in order to me, and has a not to exceed amount of, I believe $15,000 to engage their services as it relates to the regional sewer district project. Mr. Schneider, anything to make us aware of?
I had reviewed it as well. I had requested one change that got taken care of. I have nothing else to add.
Any comments or anything from the board, Mr. Hofstadter? No. Ms. Browns?
Nope.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the agreement with Baker Tilly.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Now signature shot, I want to make sure I sign the right spot. Signatures and services and terms set forth in the scope appendix are agreed to on behalf of the client, but Okay, so we, in addition to the Title 4D lease with Mr. Shaney, thought we were in negotiations with the landlord for a permanent location. That location would be next to DuBois County Tourism. Mr. Schneider, will you review the updated lease and maybe execute it or print a couple copies for us and we can discuss in a little while? That'd be okay?
I did review his changes, I'll get a couple printed,
Thank you.
HR.
And the other request I have is if you could see if the prosecutor-elect is available to, I don't believe there's any problems, but just so we can verify that they're on board.
Okay.
Thank you. Sandy, you have some surplus items?
We have a broken chair in the prosecutor's office, and I have a Dell XP laptop, Latitude D520 from God knows when. Given to the commissioners. I think Mary Miller was the UNA director at the time. It was before GIS.
So a broken chair from the prosecutor's office and a computer from the sounding.
No, I think it was from. Probably early 2000s. It was before we had GIS mapping. It was for the commissioners and it had the maps of the county on them. In an emergency, you guys could take it, use it. It's been, Marky was using it for a while. It is an XP.
The other thing with those are security risks.
I reached out to EMA and it's not even on the inventory. That's how old it is.
Anybody have any issues with the squirting these? I'll move that we declare the broken chair from the prosecutor's office and the EMA, a computer as surplus items to be disposed of.
We have 2 monitors that are not working as well, so.
I'll amend to add 2 monitors.
I'll second that amendment.
Thank you.
In the past, they always said if it doesn't work, just get rid of them, but.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. You wanna oppose? That carries. Okay. Anything, are there any other surplus items or any other contracts? Leases? Okay. So let's take 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and we'll come back for township board appointments.
Nothing. Just got to back out of the comment here. They're talking about the lease agreement for the space for the transport. I mean, if she's in here, she should stay there. That's more important. So, yeah. So I'll double check if we have to have, is Rich here? Mike, Rich. He's in earlier. Okay, that may have been all I did. All right, that's fine.
Brent,
Yes.
you see when they were planning to do that award?
No, this breakfast is tomorrow morning.
You said what?
His breakfast is tomorrow morning.
Yeah, right, that's what I know, that's what I wondered whether he was planning to be there for that. When's his last day?
His last day is the 29th.
So maybe that's probably what he was shooting for. That's why I haven't heard about it yet.
I can go find out.
Well, unless he wants to come in early tomorrow morning, we'll do the 29th or 28th, whatever he's got in mind.
Okay.
Just to kind of clear, just to kind of put a stop to it. Okay, we have township board appointments as the next item on the agenda. I don't know, Commissioner Hunt, or Brown, were you involved with that, or do you understand where we're at?
I've had some, just by email and so forth, yes. My understanding from Amy's emails is that we need to name a holdover in both Jefferson and Jackson Township to continue serving in that office, because only two of on the ballot, there were only 2 of the 3 positions filled. And in both cases, there were 2 members of the previous board that dropped away, that did not seek reelection. So one of them needs to be designated as the holdover. And it's, I guess it's our choice as to which one we designate as the holdover. So in talking to the trustee in Jefferson Township, he indicated that Charlene Atkins was one of those individuals, and he made contact with her. And I think I shared in an email that she had personal issues previously that have changed, her personal situation's changed. She's not only willing to be the holdover, perhaps she is even willing to serve another term. So in other words, if we were to designate her as the holdover, she would continue and not resign. If she would not, then she would resign immediately after the first of the year, and then the party chair would fill that spot. That would be the normal procedure of it, but she may continue on and not if we designate her as the holdover. In Jackson Township, Greg Welp, in talking to Sylvester Goldwell, the trustee, Greg Welp would be probably the most likely that we would designate as the holdover. He and the other one's name is Welp as well, I think it's his name now. And Sylvester was aware that one of them was not running, but not aware of the other one. And Greg Welp was the one that he would suggest that we designate as a holdover, and he contacted Greg and let him know that we were going to do that. I suspect Greg will then resign, and then the party chair will fill the seat.
So once we do our job, then it'll be a political decision outside of us.
Up to them as the party chair as to how they move forward.
Okay. Mr. Lester, you have any issues with that? Can you put that in the form of a motion to appoint these folks?
I will, can we do it both in one motion?
I believe so.
I would move that we designate Charlene Atkins as the holdover advisory board member in Jefferson Township, and Greg Welp as the holdover advisory board member in Jackson Township.
I will second.
We have a motion, a second. Any other discussion on the topic? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Real quick before you move on,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Carolyn Brewer is happy to stay on the Huntingburg Public Library.
Okay, so I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Yeah, just don't move me for a second here. Move that Carolyn Brewer be retained for the Huntingburg Public Library Board.
I can second that. Any other discussion on the appointment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. This gets us down to 3 boards to work on.
I've got a text out for the new oil one, but I haven't heard a response yet. So.
Did we finish music?
No. Here's the lease agreement, if you guys want to start looking over those while I fill out the form. That'd be fine. Number 4? Okay, one second. No, he and I discussed those issues this morning, so that's fine. Good. So regarding this contract, we started with some general conversation. Then Mr. Young gave us a contract. We gave feedback. He gave feedback. We had a meeting. Mr. Council President Kleesner, myself, and Mr. Schneider met. We went over some items. We gave some feedback. So it just kind of went back and forth several times because we wanted to make sure that the county was protected and in every way we could. And Mr. Young is looking to make a profit as well, which is understandable. So we wanted to make sure that it was going to be an agreeable, there were going to be agreeable terms. The general information, we have terms of that $1,700 per month. It was originally $1,500 per month, but that would have included us taking care of plumbing, and heating and air conditioning, and changing filters and doing a number of things. And I felt that the folks in that office are better served you doing child support work instead of building maintenance and having to worry about that. So the rental price went up a little bit on that to make it more of a traditional rental where we use the space and you maintain all of the major things that make the space usable. So that's part of it. And we talked about what happens if the building gets damaged, what happens if to the improvements when the process is over with, who pays the taxes, who pays the insurance. The child support office has agreed to use some of the funding that they have to help towards the build out of the office to make it suit their needs. In an amount not to exceed $20,000. So those are probably the main components that are, my assumption is that Mr. Young is going to spend $60,000 to $100,000 building this out for our use. And we've made an agreement to contribute incentive dollars to get it how they want it up to that amount. And this has been vetted by the prosecutor-elect, the newly appointed 4D prosecutor, and county elected official. Any questions on it? Mr. Schneider, would you think that it's probably wise to wait to execute this until, I mean, the prosecutor-elect gave affirmative that she was okay with it by email to me, the previous iteration, and nothing is different from that.
The only thing that's changed, I think it'd be good to get her blessing on it as well, yes. Can't remember who's signing off on this version. Let us, so.
I can see if she's available and.
So we'll get the board to review it further.
All of the advertising, the annual certifications for all the office holders, I have them all now for the county. I'm still waiting on a few from townships, but the county is the ones that have to have them here by the end of the year, so they're all here.
Thank you.
Townships, yes.
So we'll see if we can get an affirmative response from the prosecutor-elect.
They're reaching out.
Mr. Rollins, do you have any questions on where we're at?
No, I think, just going with your explanation, I agree with the maintenance and all that type of thing. The more traditional rental agreement is preferred.
Mr. Hosstetter? Okay. So we will wait to hear from them, and maybe if it happens before the end of the meeting, we will do that. She's already here.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Ms. Stempley, if you'd like to come up. At this time, Laurel Stempley has stepped into the role of interim county treasurer with the resignation of Kathy Merkley. And she is here with a request today.
Yes. I request, if I could, move, as a deputy, I have 2 PTO days left. Since I stepped into the role of treasurer until the new treasurer comes in, I would like to move those 2 PTO days into January and use those 2 days in January before the end of January.
I think it's a fair, reasonable request. The handbook allows for it, and this is a unique situation. I would be fine with it.
I agree.
The other thing I would say is, at no fault of the Stempley, we could do it to February too, just in case there's time in January. That would be my recommendation, to give her an additional month in case there is a need for her to be in the office with the treasurer to help. She's trained in treasurers for 20 years now, so she's got another
20 plus.
So we may need her in the office. So I think I would take her request and add an additional month to it, that she has until the end of February to use those 2 PTO days in addition to the ones that she earns for next year. Anybody have a problem with that?
No, not at all.
Yeah, would there be a problem with payroll or anything in that range? So let's just do that one first. I'll move that we approve the PTO request and give till the end of February of 2023 for Ms. Stempley to use her 2 PTO days from 2022.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Second issue while you're here, just to approve it as a board. We've been, if someone steps into the role of the leadership position, that they receive the pay of the office holder for that time. We've done that with the director of community corrections, and probably elsewhere. I would recommend that I would move that we approve that Ms. Stempley receives that into the higher amount of pay during that time she serves as interim treasurer.
Let's agree with that as well.
Okay, I've got a motion, I've got a second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Anything else you need today?
Yep, that's all I need.
Thank you for doing it.
Oh, no problem.
Have a great day.
You too.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, definitely.
You guys didn't know Laurel and I are best friends. Just wanted to tell you that. That's probably a little bit of a conflict of interest there, but yeah, we worked together for 8 years and she was a fine person to work with, so I'm happy that she stepped into the interim role. We are at the end of the items on the regular agenda, but I think Mr. Schneer may be coming back with some information on the lease agreement. Did you say you had any, you're good with it, or did you?
I don't have some issues.
Great. So we'll just give this a minute. Is there anything additional from the public, any public comment? And I'm gonna see if there's anything we need, is there anything additional from the attorney today?
Nothing more, but I was advised the prosecutor-elect is on her way over here. If you want to do anything with that.
Okay, we'll just gonna sit on this for a second. Please tell me, anything else that the attorney has going on?
They didn't have the money.
No, everything's still in progress, waiting on, and Steve and I met, maybe Steve's got an update,
Yeah,
raising his hand over there.
yeah, I was gonna ask you about something else, but we did have a conference call regarding the mine and there's gonna be some more conversation going on with that. I did speak with the representative from the bonding company that it would be good to have a meeting, a sit-down meeting with the commissioner and ourselves and the landowners all involved, as well as the DNR. I think the DNR has been involved through this as well, to sit down and get a clearer picture on what exactly is gonna take place. We've heard a couple different things and we just want a clear picture. So we're gonna plan on that sometime early next year. And then I was gonna ask Greg too, if you'd heard any more on the signatures from the land sale of 2 blocks.
No, I followed up with Mr. Nordhoff's office, who's assisting the estate. They said that all the signatures of the sellers on just the purchase agreement should be coming back to my office, but I haven't gotten them yet. So, and then again, we can, at this point, that's gonna be closed in the first quarter of 2023. Once it's approved by the board. And then hopefully get a deed quicker than we did the purchase agreement.
I think so. You're talking about the dumpster site there on that part.
Yes.
The other thing we're gonna meet with,
We're gonna meet with
IDEM or not,
the DNR.
whoever's involved.
Yeah, the bond counsel, who represents, he's the guy that puts together the contractor to get the reclamation done, is also a representative of the bond company. So,
So they're trying to do it, if let's say they owe us $100,000 for the bond, they're gonna try to do it themselves less expensively, is that their goal?
the latest thing that he told me is that they will put the road back as we want it, if we relinquish the bonds. Now, earlier on, I was told that they weren't gonna build a road, but a lot of the dirt work they could do as part of the reclamation of the mine. But then at that point, I told him we would likely use our bonds to put the stone on it. If they're not gonna actually build a road, we could use the bonds to put the stone there, and then we're back where we were. But now he's saying that, what they're wanting to try to do is if they do this work, that we would relinquish the bonds, and that's not what we had originally talked about, so that's why.
So we would, probably being fair people that we are, if they put the road in the way that the contract states, or the original agreement states, then we could relinquish the bond, that was the whole point, right?
Right.
But we're not gonna relinquish it in the hopes that they will do this work, for one. I mean, it'll be after, not before. Okay, so just let us know and we'll attend the meeting whenever that meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get it, see, I would expect maybe February or March.
That works with me. And we have the prosecuting attorney-elect is here, and do you believe you're satisfied with the terms of the lease as you know it?
I am, yes, as long as you don't have any further concerns, I know we've gone back and forth, I'm good.
Nope, we had a final call with the landlord, and I think the few changes that were there, we reviewed them, and I think everything's in order. I don't think there's anything major that's changed, I believe. Mr. Fritsch, actually, did he look at this too, or is he?
He was on those emails.
Yeah, he's been on the
So-
emails.
So I think we're all in agreement here. As long as you were, we didn't wanna jump
Sure.
unless something had changed.
So I appreciate it. I'm good if you wanna sign it. I know they're anxious to get moving.
So can we sign this with, do you have $20,000 available in funds that
In
don't need to be
incentive funds.
appropriated that can cover this if need be?
Yes.
Or if and when?
Yeah.
So then we don't have a problem with signing it, right, because the funds are available.
Incentive. Now, I know next year the only money we have available on rent is $950 from the council, so I don't know.
Got to get it.
That has to be,
I'm just planning to cover it with incentive for now or figure that out.
Until next budget cycle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just planning on that.
I'll move that we approve the lease agreement for 248 East Third Street, Suite B, that we have in front of us.
Sorry.
Any other discussion on the board? You're good? So, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Because we have an agreement.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do you want, Sandy, do you wanna keep the signed copy? Send me a copy? Do you want me to take it?
I will need it,
Okay,
because I have to upload it.
That's fine.
If
if you just wanna get me a copy, that's great. Anything else for me?
That'll be it.
Okay, appreciate it, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
We also signed the one.
I'm glad that
There's
that's.
signature before I can upload it.
How many square feet was that?
It's fine.
Sure, do you remember how many square feet? Was it 1,800?
I guess I'll need their
I think
signature
so.
before I can
I think that's
upload
right.
it, so
That's correct.
I don't know how to contact them, but.
Sure.
I was
Well,
thinking-
you make whatever copies you need to get me the
I
original,
was
and I'll
thinking
get
that,
and
I'll need the original
Tourism.
before I can.
Just
one of those 18 ones.
take that one. I've
Yeah.
got another one they can sign and give to Sandy.
here's another extra copy.
If you look at it on the last page,
Perfect.
And she'll have a signed one from here and then go get there.
Okay.
Then just give me that whenever you get it.
I will do that, thank you.
You guys can sign the second. So we have them all like.
Okay, anything from the auditor today? Okay, anything else from the attorney? No, anything from Commissioner Ramos?
Well,
We'll hear from you last, how's that?
okay,
Because you may have something exciting to tell us.
it's not exciting, but I guess.
Okay, great. Commissioner Hostetter?
I don't have anything additional. I'm just eager to hear what Elmer has to say.
We'll give you an opportunity in just a second. You guys want to come on in?
Sure.
I'm sure you didn't stop.
So this is the last meeting of Mr. Elmer Brahma's term as a county commissioner. And just for folks, if they don't know, Mr. Brahmas was a educator for 36 years, I believe. Does that sound about right?
Sure.
You've been married for about 50 years, is that correct?
52.
52. You got a wonderful family. I have the pleasure of knowing some of them. We were in the same grade with one of your daughters, and that was, she's always been wonderful. I think that says a lot about you and Marilyn, how wonderful your family is, and your children and their spouses and their grandkids and all of that. I think that says a lot. In addition to your time as an educator, you were a township assessor. You've served on various boards and committees here. You've been a pleasure to work with. I've felt you were a great partner throughout the last 6 years. Also, you're active in your church. You're just a person that is, I see as someone that everybody can look up to and hope to emulate. You've done a lot for the community, and you're really appreciated. the county has put together an award for you just to thank you for your years of service. And I'd like to present that to you now, if that's okay. And then you can possibly say a few words if you would like. So it just says, in honor of your service as a DuBois County Commissioner, presented to Elmer Brown December 31st, 2022. So we'll give you that.
Thank you.
And maybe after you make some comments, maybe we'll take a photo of you with your family. If you want.
Okay. Yes, thank you. And I also appreciate the comments that were made on behalf of the state award that I received. I'm not sure who gave them some of that information and the like, but I appreciate that. But I want you to know I do realize I was never president of this board, so it reported it that way, and I thought that wasn't right. But no, it's been a good run. I've enjoyed it. I'm going to miss an awful lot of it. But no, I want to thank everybody that has been involved and been supporting me and my family, of course, first and foremost. I appreciate you guys being here, and I know that the others would have been here, but there's a lot going on this morning in the family, and as this goes, this is probably the third or fourth most important thing that's happening today to me. So I appreciate you guys being here and for all the support that, I mean, you mentioned Marilyn and all of the others that have given me throughout my tenure in this office and in the assessor's office and so on. So in addition to that, I want to thank the constituents who gave me the opportunity to do this. I was elected twice to this office, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the confidence that they showed in me, and I hope I've fulfilled that to some extent. So this group and the commissioners that I've served with, you and Nick and Randy and Larry, been great to work with. We haven't always agreed on everything, but I think have always agreed that we had the best interest of the county at heart. So I appreciate the time that I've spent with you guys and Larry and Randy as well. The rest of you in the room here that are regulars in the room, all the time, and going back to the ones that, like Art, was here for the first, I guess, 4 years of my first term there, and Greg now doing that. And Greg's a good example of the old saying that we can all be replaced, because he may not remember the proclamations that were made or the ordinances that were made 50 years ago, but like Art did, but no, he stepped in and we haven't missed a beat, so I appreciate that. Sandy, of course, and for all of the time we've spent together and as auditor and even before that, and Kathy, Hope, of course, prior to Sandy in the auditor's position. So, and Stephen Brent, of course, has been here all the way through, and Candy's not here, but I put her name on the list as well. I couldn't leave Candy out, and since Candy has left, the Herald has not had a regular person in that role and attending meetings, but always enjoyed Candy's presence here as well, and the council, and especially the freshman class of 2015, Becky, Charmaine, and Greg. We came in together, and I think we've accomplished a few things, especially in relation to employee satisfaction, HR department, all of that kind of stuff. Especially in those areas, I think we've accomplished a great deal. So thank you for that support there. And of course, above all of the employees of DuBois County. We all know that it's the employees that make the county government work. It's, we get to sit up here and maybe make a decision once in a while, an important decision once in a while, But it's the people out there in the various offices working that make county government work the way it is. So as I leave, I want to wish you good luck, Godspeed, and especially to Commissioner-elect Stempfenagel. She will step right in here, and I'm confident that that DuBois County is going to be in good hands moving forward. You know, I had a conversation with one of the commissioners in a neighboring county recently, and I think he was a little bit envious of the fact that I was retiring from this. And he said that there were just so many projects that are going that I want to see through. And my response was, there are always going to be projects that are left undone and that need to be continued. And I made a little list here, and you can do with what you want with this list. But if I were continuing on, these would be some of the priorities that I would continue to look at. Of course, complete the jail. And then take another look at relocating the courts and the rest of the judicial system. Continuing the work that we've been doing on the sewer district and bringing that, it'll never be brought to completion, to final completion, but get it to the point to where we've got the board in place and the bylaws and all of that, and we're working on projects to bring sewer service throughout the county. Complete the HELP initiative. Ryland was here earlier talking about that. Find a new and improved location for the extension office. I know we've talked about that in the past, and I think that's still on the table. Find a way to move the bike and pedestrian trail plan from the shelf to reality, and that was part of what Ryland had on the list of things that to help. So I'd really like to see that brought, get something done on that. Develop a comprehensive plan for the county, and again, we've been talking about that, and I think that's an important main step to carry forward. And maybe take another look at implementing planning and zoning. I think that's an item that's going to come up, and at some point it's going to be a priority. So all of that, and in addition, taking care of the highways and the infrastructure and the facility, and of course supporting our employees as they do the business of the county. So having said all that, thank you again, and I'm looking forward to January. But I'm going to miss this. I'm going to miss it. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for the award. Thank you.
Is there any other business for the county today? Anybody like to say anything, Delmer, before we adjourn?
There's still an empty seat in the snowplow.
You know what? That might be fun.
Fine.
All right, well, thank you, everybody, and we will close the meeting.
Okay.
And
We've got